Hello class, my name is David Marshall. I'll be giving a presentation today on my hometown. My hometown is Robinson, Texas. It is in the county of McLennan County. It was originally known as Robinsonville. Two brothers traveled from Alabama, John and Levi Robinson, to make the first settlement here. Archaeologists have revealed evidence that hunters and gatherers were in the area as early as 11,000 years prior to John and Levi's arrival. That's probably due to the proximity of the Brazos River. 30 years after the first town was first settled by John and Levi, the population had grown to approximately 800 people. Those 800 people were able to support 3 cotton gins, 3 general stores, 2 churches, 1 school, and 1 broom factory. The city was eventually incorporated in 1955, and the name was changed to Robinson. Currently, the population is approximately 12,000 people. The demographic breakdown is roughly 95% Caucasian, 2% African American, and with the remaining 3% being a mixture of all other races. The current estimated median household income for Robinson is approximately $80,000 per year, with the average median home price being $170,000. It's pretty expensive to live here in Robinson due to the schools. Everybody wants to be in the Robinson schools, so some of the houses, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,600 square foot house, are running anywhere from $250 to $350. Robinson also encompasses many small rural towns. These include Galinda, Asa, Moorville, Levi, and Downsville, as well as Rosenthal. Downsville was named after a man named William Woods Downs. He settled the area around the same time the Robinson brothers were here in the 1850s. Rosenthal was also settled around the 1850s. Rosenthal got its name, legend says, from a local store owner with the last name of Rosenthal. He offered a family in Rosenthal a barrel of apples if they would name the town after him. Robinson Independent School Districts are known as the Robinson Rockets, or the Pride of the Blue. The first school was founded in 1860. Later in 1888, the Robinson Academy was founded and was utilized as the main school until 1928, when a fire destroyed that building. Soon after the fire, the community was able to raise some tax dollars and were able to build a new school, which is now known as the Old Primary School to local residents. That remained the school for a while until the 1950s, when the high school and junior high were built a few blocks away. As the Pride of the Blue would suggest, Robinson's school colors are blue, and the mascot is a rocket. The blue was chosen when the first basketball team in the 1950s needed uniforms. At the time, the cheapest color scheme was blue and white, so that's what they went with. The class of 1957 chose the rocket as the mascot. A few years after they chose the rocket, a company here in Waco called Rocketdyne donated a few old rocket parts. The students were able to assemble those rocket parts, and that rocket still stands in front of one of the campuses here in Robinson in its original location. The school song was written by a 6th grade music teacher and her students in the 1960s. The song goes along to the tune of a song called "O Tannenbaum," or better known as "O Christmas Tree." As far as sports go, high school football is big in Texas. It's huge here too. It's by far the biggest sport in Robinson, draws the biggest crowds. We have one notable player that made it to the NFL from our Robinson high school team. Jason Tucker played for Robinson in the mid-1990s, and eventually he went on to play for the Dallas Cowboys and the Cincinnati Bengals. Most recently, in 2018, a man named Braxton Ashcraft was playing Robinson High School baseball. He signed a Major League Baseball deal straight out of high school for the Pittsburgh Pirates, and that contract was worth a couple $1 million. Some other facts about Robinson. Now, some of these are good, and some are kind of the darker side of Robinson, so be prepared. We have our own water supply, and it's fed by 7 artesian wells. And we've been using those wells for 40, 50 years at this time. Along with some of the notable residents that I spoke of from our sports teams, we also have some notorious residents as well. A few years ago, a woman named Darlene Gentry, you may have seen her on the television show Snapped. She was convicted of murdering her husband while he slept. What made the case such a big deal was that she lied about the story, said there was an intruder, and tried to cover up everything. She was eventually found guilty, and she's serving pretty much a life sentence in Gatesville, Texas. In 1916, a Robinson woman by the name of Lucy Fryer was the wife of a husband who owned a farm here in Robinson. She was murdered, and a young teenager by the name of Jesse Washington was arrested and charged with that crime. Jesse worked for the family on the farm. Within a few days of his arrest, he was tried and convicted at the McLennan County Courthouse, and a mob of spectators pulled him from the courtroom and took him into the front lawn of the courthouse. They dismembered him and hung him from a tree, where they continued to raise and lower him into a bonfire that they had built while hundreds of spectators cheered. It was an awful deal. It became known as the Waco Horror. Now, despite all those bad things I just said, Robinson's still a great community nowadays. We have a very low crime rate. Schools are amazing, like I said. It's a kind of small town where anytime you go to the gas station or the grocery store, you're going to run into somebody you know, whether you went to high school with them or they live next door to you, something like that. But overall, it's a great community. I've lived here most of my life. I did move into Waco a few times, but I've always made it back out here, and I would hope to continue to reside here throughout the remainder of my life. Thank you for listening to my presentation about my hometown.